Next on stage, we have Elena Bonfiglioli. She's Managing Director at Microsoft for the health industry. And the title of her presentation is How Artificial Intelligence Can Solve Cancer. Without further ado, here is Elena Bonfiglioli.
No problem, I'll start. Somebody ran away with a clicker, so that's fine. Now, first of all, it's a great topic. For me, being an economist, working in a tech company and leading our health industry business for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, when you talk about data for good, you could say you talk about data to save lives. And we heard a lot about data for digital inclusion, social justice, sustainability, and so on. When you think about the digital you as a source for better information when you most need it, which is either to manage your finances, and we are in the right place for that, or to manage your own health. That is something that becomes an imperative for all of us as citizens, hopefully not, but in any case, as patients, as communities, and as organizations. So I'm very passionate about the topic. Let's see what comes. Yes, and one of the things I wanted to do today, I mean, we could take many different avenues and talk about this topic, but there is what we have done in the space of cancer, and you could think about how does it relate? Where do we have a computer, a software, a cloud company talking about cancer? Actually, when you think about information systems and the biological systems in us, there is a very close correlation, and both can be programmed and hopefully debugged. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but before that, I wanted to bring into context where we are in healthcare. So for those of you that think about health, you know it's all about quality, access, and cost. It's always been like that. Actually, there is more than that. It's also about value, it's about experiences. And at the end, it's about better outcomes. So those outcomes are actually heavily influenced from data. So the way in which we can gather as many data as possible, we can reason over those data with the power of mobility and cloud, and we can extract intelligence in a way where your doctor can treat you real time with information that come from across all data sources possible in an intelligent and intuitive way, and can predict better. That is, of course, you know, what everybody would like to have. And unfortunately, it is not the situation today. I don't know if you know, but the third leading cause of death worldwide is not a disease. It is actually errors, mistakes that are done because not all the informations were there at the right time or accessible in an intuitive way, in a collaborative way. So sentinel events into hospitals remain a leading cause of error. So there is a lot that can be improved in this sense. And so where we look at where healthcare can be transformed, definitely the combination of data intelligence and cloud can make the difference. And when we look at what brings data to life for a common good? Well, it is really the intelligence, how you reason over that data, how it can change the experience that your patients have or that your citizens have, even before becoming a patient and getting engaged either with their provider or with their own healthcare. We talk a lot about Internet of Things, but imagine that a human become that thing, and where all the sensors are related to you. Actually, even how you read your own skins, your own sensor, your own biological signals can become the internet of the human thing. And that will be the future. That is already actually the present future that we're working with. And so across the wheel of digital transformation, if we want to call it like that, we really have the opportunity to have data for common good to reshape the future of our health. And here I wanted to bring you a live example. So not what we tell, but what we have done with one of our customers. This is Sweden. This is Uppsala Hospital. And we've done with them an innovation race for better outcomes in cancer treatment. And it's all about data intelligence and collaboration. So if the video works, it tells the story. If not, I'll tell you. There should be sound. Can you check if the sound is up? I don't think so. So what happened here? What you see it in the background. We brought together a hospital which is leading in the cure of head and neck cancer. With their board, their clinicians, nurses, patients, we brought together pharma companies, ourselves, and also local companies that were working on data. And then for 52 hours, these people worked together to look at very concrete problems that were affecting patients suffering from head and neck cancer. And it was interesting to see how they immediately tracked the point of revolutionizing the process of how data are handled pre and post surgery. Even, for example, a point on enhanced screening. We have seen in the US that if you analyze the logs of people that will be detected with lung cancer, actually if you analyze these logs, you could have a very likelihood of identifying patients that later on will be actually diagnosed with lung cancer. So there are some data out there, things that you do, things that you search for, the environment in which you live, that have a predictability of your health. Just this, imagine the ability to turn this type of scientific discoveries and researches, connect them with actually your medical record. And that would be an enhanced screening tool that would actually prevent a lot of lives to be wasted. Because today we get there just far too late. So this is an example, and what you have there, it's actually, there are a couple of case studies if you search for Uppsala Innovation Race for better health and cancer outcomes. And then, let me go back. I wanted to share a couple of other things when it comes to artificial intelligence and cancer. When you think about data, it's not only a big data project. It's about how you infuse intelligence in all aspects of what you do. So you have seen out there what they call mixed reality. We talk it augmented reality. Just the ability to gather data and to create for you what we call the HoloLens experience, so the holographic computing, is allowing doctors, surgeons that will prepare the living cancer operations in Oslo Hospital in Norway to understand better how that organ will react to the surgery. So holographic computing, data treatment, intelligence to prepare the future surgeries for cancer. That is just a different aspect, but as important. Here you see how our researchers in Cambridge, UK, have been working to mirror how our biological system works with an informatics system. So basically, when you program a program, you understand the process, you understand what happens, what is the root cause. And similarly, if you study how cells divide themselves, how they multiply, how their behavior, you can understand and compare what happens when a cell turns into a cancerous cell, and then compare it with a healthy process. You understand the root cause, and ideally in the future, you can either stop or reprogram that system, that biological system, from developing cancer. That is the big bet that our researchers are working on in Cambridge and around the world, in collaboration with oncologists, with leading scientists in bioinformatics, and frankly, with public health authorities. There is no one organization that can work on this on its own. Another example, medical imaging. This is just another way to look at data for public good. So we are trying to make it faster and easier for clinicians that have to delineate a tumor, which now actually is done manually. It takes about an hour to bring it down to better accuracy and better efficiency in 2 to 3 minutes. This is not the idea of replacing a doctor, but augmenting those capacities, sparing valuable time that they can use in different ways, and saving lives. You can find, if you're interested, more of these cases in which data is used for common good, for better health outcomes. That's the way I like to look at it. And you can look at democratizing artificial intelligence in health. It's a website, and you can discover many use cases, different ones, both research projects and also projects that we are currently delivering across the world with our partners. And then I wanted, as I close, to reflect on the gatekeeper of data for common good, for public good, data for saving lives. There is one gatekeeper, and that is trust. If we don't trust the fact that we can share the data, nothing of that can happen. As Microsoft, as many other companies, the cloud, the technology is there. Our Azure cloud provides the scale for working and reasoning on that data and giving back insights and intelligence. However, if we are not able to do two things, to have the trust that those computational activities will augment human capacity, not replace it. If you take a doctor, you have to be sure that that doctor believes that you're there to help and augment, not to bring him out of a job tomorrow. And the second thing, it needs to be an approach whereby the cloud is a cloud for a common good. So it's a trusted, it's a responsible and inclusive cloud. Trust is the gatekeeper to innovation and to better health for the future. Because how many times people say, I will not share my health data in the cloud. Great, but you're sharing all your financial data and you trust that. We are in the place for that. And we don't even think about that anymore. But then there are plenty of doctors that take our data and they just put it on Dropbox. Is that safer? Well, so if you're interested to look at the reflection that we did from Microsoft's standpoint, looking at what are the tenets that our cloud needs to respond to, you can download this digital book. You go on microsoft.com/cloud4good, and there is a description of what we mean by trusted, inclusive, and responsive. And there is nothing that can be done without that trust tenet becoming true. So my timer says I'm done 13 minutes. This is the website I was telling you about, so feel inspired. Please share ideas and your comments. And as I close, I wanted to go back to one presenter that talked about ethics. Artificial intelligence, data for good, need to be trusted, but also they need to be ethical. We ourselves, as a leading company in this space, we have started to work with leading researchers from the University of Oxford, looking at ethics of artificial intelligence. We started to charter the difficult questions of how algorithms are trained. What are the ethical considerations and decisions when we bring these data and reason over this data? So stay tuned. We'll be sharing very soon some of the outcomes of that. Thank you for your attention, and it's a fantastic journey. Thank you.